and welcome to tonight's feature. We are gonna do a review of the first episode of the Dick Von Dyke Show. I've been thinking about watching this show for a while now, and I finally got the chance to get the DVD set and actually watch the episodes. So I'm thinking about giving you guys some reviews of some of the episodes, not all of them, but some simple picks from the different seasons that has been shown. And of course we need to start with the first episode, because the first episode shows us the ground pillar of the show on what it's all about. So in a classic sitcom way, they introduce Rob and Laura, the man and wife, with their child, the Richie. We get to take a look in both the home dynamics in the 1960s and also in the work space in the 1960s. So Rob is like a head writer for a comedy show, and Laura is a stay-at-home mom. So we get to take part in the family or the life in the 1960s in that area. So the premise of the episode is that they show Rob here getting invited to a party that his boss is holding, and he wants them to show up and do some comedy bits, I guess, at his party. Like we know today, I guess, when you have a work and you have a great workspace, I guess, and your boss asks you to attend to something, you kind of want to do that because it's your work, you want to show you the best side of yourself. So Rob goes home and talks to this about Laura. At the same time, Laura is talking about, well, Richie is starting to get sick. We need to, be a bit cautious now because he can get even more ill. So Rob, I feel Rob here because I've been in work that you really want to show off for your boss at the same time that it kind of goes out on your kids' situation if they're sick. So I feel the struggle here in this episode when he really needs to go, but he also really needs to stay home with their kids. So Laura, after back and forth, Laura says, well, you can go alone, it's okay, it's important to you. But she also gives him a twist when he is like, all right, I can go. She's like, well, if you care more about your job than your kid, well, go ahead. And it's a classic situation you can actually encounter today, like with man and husband, girlfriend and boyfriend, I guess, with children, that, well, you can go, but you don't care about your child that much, do you? Which is kind of like the, classic situation, I guess, in a lot of relationships. So there's a lot of back and forth if they want to go and if they don't want to go. So Rob eventually gets Laura to go with him. So Laura calls a babysitter. So Laura is super cautious about the situation because she's afraid that Richie here will get more sick. And like mothers and fathers, I guess, today, they are extremely cautious about the situation. Now they call a babysitter. Gives the babysitter a lot of instructions, call this number, do this, do that, because he might get sicker. In that case, call us. So eventually Rob just drags his wife out because she never gets done explaining to the babysitter what she should do if this situation occurs. So we get to see the party, like the more rich type of party, and Rob and his co-workers are holding some kind of entertainment bit for the guests and their boss. So we get a musical number, we got this joke number and some kind of sketch number in this party. And I mean, Rob here is showing what he can do, what he does at his work, and why he's good at it, because it's a fantastic actor. And Laura is standing there watching the time, and she really needs or wants to go back home. But the audience or the other guests are enjoying the entertainment so much that they want an encore, like Rob states in the end of the episode. So they stay a bit longer. Now, we go back home and we see them arrive from the party, and they had a good time, but Laura is cautious, this dragged out way too long. And Rob is saying, well, everything went fine, take a look here. And they go, oh, there's a doctor back here. What's happening? Something actually did happen. Laura said that. So they rush ahead and see that the parents of, or was it neighbors of the babysitter? I think it was the parents of the parents of the babysitter that arrives and says that everything was okay, it's fine, Richie is in bed and he just went into bed. So it builds up saying that, well, something happened to Richie. Now the plot twist in this episode was it was not Richie at all that was sick or had gotten sicker. It was the babysitter that has hit her head on, I think it was the freezer door, she said. So the doctor was there because of her, because they acted all, Rob and Laura acted confused because they haven't gotten any telephone or a phone about Richie being sick. So the conclusion in this episode, I guess, the message in this episode was that when your kid is sick, you should worry that something can happen, but also you should be able to go and have fun with a babysitter at hand. So there was like this mixed conclusion of the episode that as a family, you choose your children first, but also you must be able to go and have a fun time, even though you have children, and you can let them go for a couple of hours or 3 hours or whatever. So, but I reflected after the episode was done, because this was the 1960s, and to be honest, many of the situations that happened in this episode is still relevant today. And people are saying, well, it was a different time in the 60s and so on and so on. It's not. The situations you experience in this episode is actually pretty relevant to today's society also, with families prioritizing work and family life. It's hard to keep the balance, because even though the roles can be switched today, the men can be home and be worried about the kids while the wife went out having a party with their girlfriends or whatever. But the situations are still the same. There is a balance in work life and family life, and how you're trying to keep it at level by not doing something wrong for the family, but also not doing something wrong for the work life. And it's hard to this day. So, but the comedy is fantastic in the series. I watched a few episodes now, and I must say that it's not typical like slapstick humor, but there's simple humor, but there's, yeah. And I think the show, I read an article, I think, where they said that they tried not to use slang from the time there, because they wanted to keep the show irrelevant for a long time ahead. And I think they managed to do that, because there's not any situation-based slang, I guess, that connects it only to the 60s. It's a timeless show in some way. As far as I've seen, that you can still connect to in 2026. So yeah, the Dick Von Dyke Show, it's an amazing show. You should actually watch it if you haven't. So yeah, this was a review of episode 1. I'm going to do several reviews of the series and other series from that time era. So it's fun watching what they made back then and how relevant it is for a fact today. That is my review of episode 1 of the Dick Von Dyke Show. Amazing! See you next time, watchers.